All right, good morning, and you're welcome to another beautiful Saturday morning right here on the Afia Sports Show. I do remain your priest of football, Emeka Madoke, aka Femelo, and I will be here with Sisi the Rival. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Emeka.
It's just going to be two of us for today. We're riding solo. I mean, due to some facts, KP and Divine couldn't be here, but all the best. We could still carry on the show.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they say that 2 is company and 3 is a crowd. So
yeah, so
it is what it is.
It is what it is. So, I mean, we do have the NPFL and it's back. I want you to throw some insights on what has gone down in the last match weekend. So, your thoughts?
Well, the last match week was really fantastic. I think the major standout has to be the fact that Enugu Rangers, because, I mean, come on, charity begins at home. And we are talking about the Flying Antelopes. And the fact that Fidelis Ilechukwu has been doing a fantastic job. If you look at what happened during the last time around, you see a good number of games. Rangers stretched. The big news, anyway, is the fact that with that draw that the Flying Antelopes secured against Katsina United away from home, it stretched the unbeaten run to 10 games. So 10 games, very, very good result indeed. Other results we could see there on the screen. Lobby Stars had that needed victory over Plateau United in the North Central Derby. And then you could see that that's what gave them a bit of respite in this relegation dogfight, and also gave a bit of breathing space to Daniel Amokachi, the Bull. They say that Bulls don't play football, but I mean, you're seeing it there. Some results are coming out there. And what is really impressive is the fact that Heartland have found their mojo a little bit, which is why they're just battling, but they're above the relegation waters. That's why that draw, albeit at home against Bendel Insurance, was a very important one. And it gave them some breathing space. So as games come and as they go, we just see that one major constant in the last few weeks has been a change of power in terms of the first position and then the second position. Remo Stars and Rivers United seem to be switching, but we don't know whether that will happen by 2025, whether there's another sheriff in town. You have Rivers United on top of the log there with Remo Stars second, and then Enugu Rangers, Flying Antelopes are third. So that's the reward we get for a solid run of results. And then 3SC, we'll talk more about the fact that 3SC are really into matters, doing a lot of good things there. They are fourth, and El Kanemi Warriors are fifth. Ikorodu City FC are sixth on the log. No, Oga Boys, showing that they're really the Oga Boys. And Niger Tornadoes are seventh on the log. Bayelsa United, eighth on the log. Aimba are ninth. Don't let that ninth position deceive you, because Aimba have games in hand, actually 3 games in hand over every other team that's there in the NPFL. Kano Pillars make up the first half of the table in 10th position. Then Heartland. Now that is the surprise story of the season. I'll keep on insisting that Heartland FC have been doing a good job. No, Emmanuel Amnike has really helped this team, rejuvenated them, and they are now 11th on the log. It's still a long way to go, but that's really good news. And Abia Warriors are 12th, Kwara United 13th, Katsina United 14th, Lobby Stars that we talked about are above relegation waters in 15th position, Plateau United 16th, and then you talk about the relegation situation. Nasarawa United are there 17th, Sunshine Stars FC are 18th. They are languishing. Well, I'll mention something about them as we move on. And then Bendel Insurance are 19th, and Aqua United are 20th. And, Aqua United are the basement boys, and you're seeing their Sunshine Stars are 18th. There is a bit of news, I have it on good, reliable sources that a new sheriff is coming back into town. Now, why I say back into town is because he's been in that dugout before, and he's somebody that is well known for his dynamism and his ability to help teams get what they've been looking for. I'm talking about none other than Kennedy Boboye. Now, Kennedy Boboye, the tactical genius, the man himself, the maestro. There are reports. We're not going to confirm those reports until the dotted line is signed, but there are reports that he's going to be making a return to the NPFL back to Aqua United. Remember, he's the manager that secured their first ever league title, the same way he did it with Plateau United. So, and then we know what happened, how he was, because of the Imo State government's issues with him, and then the late Christian Obi, God rest his soul, he was removed from the seat of Heartland FC. And we know what happened to Heartland. They got relegated, managed to get their slot back when they bought, I won't say that they bought it, no, but they swapped positions with Beyond Limits. So really, I'm just trying to point out that any team that has Kennedy Boboye is bound to have some, revival as such. Sunshine Stars are struggling. He was their manager earlier this season, and then he left some months ago. So really, I think Aqua United, it may be too late because they're basement boys now. But if Kennedy Boboye manages to get them out of the relegation waters, for me, that would be his greatest achievement as a manager. Even surpassing winning the title with Plateau United and winning the title with Aqua United. That's what I feel. Really.
Well, I do share those thoughts. I mean, getting a team who you call the basement boys out of the relegation waters would be a great feat for Kennedy Boboye. I mean, to go there, carry them from last, and even if it's just the 16th or 15th place, just taking them out of the relegation zone would be important for the club going forward. And Kennedy Boboye would be a man to look on to, last to save the club when they're in dire trouble or something like that. But I do want us to move to the Premier League right now. A lot of exciting fixtures coming up, and the big one this weekend is Tottenham versus Liverpool. Well, a lot of eyes are on that game because Arsenal fans would be wanting Liverpool to win, so because of the hatred over Tottenham.
Are you sure about that?
Well,
I really don't think
there are some things that are constant in life, which is the hatred over Tottenham for Arsenal.
The same Arsenal fans you're talking about were wishing for a Tottenham win over Manchester City last season.
Well, mixed emotions this season.
I don't think there are any mixed emotions. Any Arsenal fan that is worth his salt. I mean, looking at the fixtures there, you have Aston Villa against Man City.
We got Brentford
because they'll want Liverpool to drop the points. Arsenal are currently six.
Everyone
wants
points, Liverpool to drop the points, right?
Including
now.
Arsenal. Arsenal, they're in the title race.
Well,
so the reality on ground is, okay, look at this. Aston Villa are playing the early kickoff, and that's now, of course, if you look at the times that are there, that's UK time. So it's by 1:30, not 12:30. Aston Villa will be hosting Manchester City at Villa Park, and that begs the question. Look at that game. You're just wondering, a Man City side that was full strength, that had a Rodri. Okay, no, Rodri was not there. Yeah. But a man that was full strength minus Rodri, that were basking in confidence, lost at Villa Park 1-0 last time around. But this time around, a Man City that have totally lost their mojo, 1 win in 11 games, 8 defeats in 11 games, are facing the same Aston Villa. Unai Emery. I really don't know what to say about that game. But other games there.
Brentford hosts Nottingham Forest. Ipswich do host Newcastle United. West Ham take on Brighton. Crystal Palace hosts Arsenal after the exits from the Carabao Cup.
Yeah,
they face them again. Will Jesus play and maybe taunt them once more? Who knows? Well, the boys who claim they're not in the title race but are in the title race take on Everton at Goodison Park. I'm talking about their Chelsea.
It's the battle of the
most exciting team to watch this season, you might say. I mean, they've been entertaining all season.
It's arguable. I really, when you talk about teams that, like, we talk about, I always say this way, that one of the greatest recipes to disaster, double recipes to disaster in a footballing season is leaking goals and lacking goals. Now, if you're not leaking the goals, or rather, if you're leaking the goals, at least don't be lacking the goals, because it's a game of who outscores who.
Yeah.
And if you're shipping in goals, at least score. Like, I think it was, who was it again that said that? Was it Jose Mourinho or so? If a 1-0 win is just as good as a 4-3 win. Because a win is a win.
A win is a win.
You've considered 3 goals. Nobody will look at that. Yeah, the defense will have to sort out their mess a little later. But the fact that you outscored the team in question and then got the 3 points in the bag, good. But when you look at that, Chelsea initially at the start of the season, they were shipping in a few goals they shouldn't have shipped in. But they've been going gung-ho on all defenses, scoring goals, playing expansive football. Players have been rejuvenated there. Ice Cole Palmer doing what he does best.
Quite a few clean sheets coming in there. Surprisingly, because most people won't have expected Sanchez to keep clean sheets this season. But
it's strange.
He's putting some good performances and some clean sheets along the way. But we do have other fixtures coming up. There it is. Fulham take on Southampton. Leicester host Wolves. Man United, can they bounce back from their shameful performance against Tottenham in the Carabao Cup? Who knows? They host Bournemouth. And the big game is at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is Tottenham versus Liverpool. It's now, let's put it, the world against Liverpool.
The world. And of course, the world is a very, very narrow world in this context. Tottenham Hotspur some things in life are constant. Rain, taxes, and Tottenham Hotspur being Spursy. I always talk about that. And usually they are Spursy at home. I don't know why. But at home, the Spurs really have a way of showing the other side of themselves. This is a team that could lose at home. That's at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London.
Then go to Etihad,
and they go to
beat
Etihad
Man
and
City.
blow them out of the water 4-0.
Still go to the Old Trafford and blow away Manchester United. I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
This season, I mean, the memes have been play bad against the mid-table teams, win Manchester City, play a couple of bad games again, win Manchester United, play a couple of other bad teams. That's the cycle for Tottenham.
But you know, going down the memory lane, I'll say because I think Ange Postecoglou, having been, and you know, he bragged, and he'll have a lot to prove about that bragging. You know, he bragged that he always wins something in the second season. Let's keep our fingers crossed. But it's definitely not the EPL. But if you go down the memory lane, one major thing that made Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United stand out was something I noticed. Ferguson did not have the best of results against the big teams, the established teams. There was no big six at the time. You could have the big two or the big three. And usually the big three, well, there was a big two for a very long time. Arsenal and Man U. That was the big two. Then for a while, it became the big three. Arsenal, Man U, Chelsea. Then Liverpool were fluttering in between sometimes. And then Man City was not even in the mix at the time. But if you notice something, there was a constant for Alex Ferguson's Man U. He would have some good games against the big teams. That is the likes of the Arsenals of this world, the Chelseas of this world, Liverpools of this world and all that. He would have some good games. He would have some bad games also against them. But one thing he always did was that he would go to the so-called cannon fodder. That is, there are some teams you call GP boosters. the mid-table teams, the relegation fighting teams, and bully them. They'll just go and be flat track bullies, get the results against those teams, and then win the titles. That's what Ferguson used to do in his days. So Tottenham might want to borrow from that league because they've shown that they are more than capable of standing toe-to-toe with the big boys. We've seen that against, Manchester City against Man United, even against Arsenal, even though Arsenal won them, but they've shown what they're capable of doing.
I mean, Chelsea too, they had some fight back.
They struggled, really. There was a fight back. I think the game ended 4-3 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But what you need to do is you make sure that you beat those teams that you are expected to beat. Liverpool lost the title some years back, 2008. They lost the league title. What happened? Liverpool had 2 wins, or rather 2 defeats in the whole season. Man United had 5. But Liverpool had too many draws. Man U kept on winning all the teams they were meant to have won. So I think that's something that anybody who is contending for the title needs to put into cognizance. Beat the teams that you're expected to beat, then have a good go against the big teams, and then you get the results you're looking for.
Well, I mean, let's see if they could get the job done at the end of the day. Would it be Liverpool? Would it be Tottenham? The world is waiting to know.
We're watching, yeah.
Well, let's move on to the La Liga. And the big fixture for today is Barcelona versus Atletico.
Oh, that's a cracker.
From a Barca perspective and from a neutral perspective, I will say this. Barca fans aren't so hopeful for this game, even though they are at home. This season, it seems like it's been better performances away from home. The Mojito has seen a lot of losses more than wins this season. And we had the chance to extend, didn't take it. Madrid have 2 games in hand. Atletico the same, and we're level on points with Atletico Madrid. It's a dicey situation for Barca right now. How do you see them coming out from this? Do you think they might get the win today?
You know, when you talk about competitive leagues, the La Liga is really a very competitive league. Easily the most exciting. Yeah, easily the most exciting league in world football. But you would say that the English Premier League is more structured. It's more organized, minus VAR. But it's more organized.
Everything can be perfect.
No. Perfection is, it's something that's a pipe dream. But the truth of the matter is, when you look at La Liga, it's a breath of fresh air. Hansi Flick has shown what he's capable of doing. You know, people looked at what he did in Bayern Munich back then and then said, no, dismissed the treble that he won with Bayern Munich in 2020 and said, oh no, this is a farmers league. He did that. Even if the Champions League was not a farmers league, they bashed Barcelona, the same Barcelona 8-2. Then they bashed Chelsea 4-1. Amongst other results, they're getting to the final. Results
that year.
Yeah, painful results for you. I know. I know how it feels. But if you check it very well, you find out that Hansi Flick did what he was meant to do. And then in Barca, he's been flying high. The fact that Barcelona in the La Liga, you get some results, it's almost impossible to win, or rather to not lose your game at home. You must lose one game at least at home. In La Liga, it's been a constant thing. And Barca have seen that. Madrid saw that. The only game they lost was to Barca. That 4-0 rally. Yeah. But Barca have lost 2 games. And what's really surprising to me,
have lost
they lost, I mean, the 2 games that they lost at home.
Oh.
I'm referring to the 2 games at home. To less fancied opponents, Las Palmas and the Leganes. They lost to them. So really, Hansi Flick I think he's gotten the information. He's read the memo now and seen that La Liga is a much more competitive league than the Bundesliga. But I think that they'll be all right. When everybody gets fit and fully ready for what's going on, it's going to remain a 3-horse race. These 2 fixtures you talked about, there's one fixture you mentioned, but there's another one, and it involves the top 3. Barca are facing Atletico Madrid, but Real Madrid are hosting Sevilla. Sevilla are not what they used to be, I understand, but they're still Sevilla. So really, Carlo Ancelotti has a lot to show.
Let's just glance through the rest of the fixtures.
Yeah.
Girona do host Valladolid, Getafe take on Mallorca, Vigo take on Sociedad, Osasuna host Athletic Club, Barca do host Atletico Madrid in the Mojito, and Valencia do host Alaves, Madrid the host of the game between Sevilla, Las Palmas do host Espanyol, Leganes, after the flying win, will be hosting Villarreal, Real Betis do host Real Vallecano. And I want to ask, apart from the Real Madrid and the Barca game, which other fixture here really excites you for the weekend? I could really pick out one from here, and that would be Vigo and Sociedad. Those are 2 flying teams in the La Liga right now.
Yeah, Celta Vigo and Real Sociedad. Sociedad are 7th on the log. Celta
These are 2 teams who have caused Barca trouble this season.
Yeah.
With a draw for Vigo and a loss.
Yeah, Celta are 13th. Celta are 13th. These are very, very troublesome teams. From a Barca perspective, I think the Girona game, just for clarity, the Girona game against Real Valladolid was yesterday, and Girona won 3-0. So that was the early kickoff, yes. So it was something that we look forward to, because some eyes, not all eyes, have been on Girona, the Catalonian-based side, to see whether they can replicate.
The season they had last season was incredible.
Stellar season, and the fact that they went to the Champions League, they've not been able to replicate it thus far. And I'm not surprised, because really those dizzying heights of first, second, third, because they touched those 3 positions for a very long.
Would you say it's a case of rush of adrenaline? They just rushed into it. They weren't ready for the whole pressure and everything of Europe.
I wouldn't really say that. They were ready let's say they were not scared. They didn't have the fear factor that other teams, the other more established teams, the likes of Barcelona under Hansi Flick, then the likes of under Xavi Hernandez, then the likes of Real Madrid under Carlo Ancelotti, even though Madrid battered them and bruised them home and away last season. Then the likes of Atletico Madrid under Diego Simeone, and then all the other established La Liga managers. They just went toe-to-toe with them and said, look, you guys are 11 players. We are also 11 players. So we're going to give you all we've got. And they did that. But what they've lacked is experience in a title race. So I think that's what's showing in this second season.
Quite briefly, I do want to rush through the Serie A.
Yeah.
And after winning the CAF Player of the Year, Lookman and his boys do sit comfortably on top of the table right now. I mean, just for now. I believe Napoli do sit in second. And Inter, Fiorentina, Lazio, Juve, Bologna, Milan, Udinese, Empoli. I do want to ask, what's going on for AC Milan this season? They're not reaching the heights everyone expected them to reach in the league, I mean.
Yeah, AC Milan, the Rossoneri, really, they have been a very, very inconsistent team so far. You look at them on the table, they're currently, I think that's 8th. That should be 8th or so. And when you check the Rossoneri, their players have really not stepped up to the table. Fonseca, even though they got the win, I think away from home yesterday, the fixture there, I'm trying to remember who they played, but they won 1-0 away from home. I'll verify that in a jiffy. But they've not really been as consistent as the big teams ahead of them. When they lost, they've not really replaced some key players. Pulisic is almost always injured. Rafael Leao is doing a very, very good job from the flanks, but he's not somebody you have to rely on all the time. If you go defensively, Fikayo Tomori is, I don't know whether he's really somebody that's into it. So it was Verona. They beat Hellas Verona. Like the Hellas Verona away from home. Yes, they did that, travel to Verona, got that win 1-0, gave them a bit of respite. But even though they are not struggling with the relegation waters, when you compare them with the teams that are the usual suspects now, referring to Atalanta, who deserve to be there because they've had a very, very good season, and Ademola Lookman has been driving them. I think Retegui, their striker, is the top striker, the leading scorer in the Italian Serie A as we speak right now. And then you look at Napoli. Napoli will always be contenders because of Conte. That's the major reason. Osimhen or no Osimhen, that's the reality on ground.
Sure.
Conte. Then Inter are still Inter. They're the defending champions. And of course, they are my pick for the title. They will probably win, the Nerazzurri will probably win a second season in a row. But you've never really seen, I don't know, I push my mind back down the memory lane. I've never really seen a season in recent years where the two, not even about Atalanta. I've never really seen a season in recent years where the two Milanese clubs, that is Inter
and AC
Milan,
fighting for the title at the same time.
Fighting for the title at the same time. I've not seen that.
It's either AC is leading the margins or Inter is leading the margins.
And it seems Inter are continuing from where they stopped last season. So I don't know what Fonseca and the board, the AC Milan board, will do about the Rossoneri. They might need to go to the market and then make some signings, critical signings, refresh that team. Giroud has not been replaced. That's the truth. He has not been replaced.
Quite quickly.
At his age. Yeah.
We have to rush through the Carabao Cup. Obviously, Tottenham wiping out Manchester United 4-3. Quite a crazy game. There was a lot of goals in
7-goal thriller.
Both goalkeepers not really on top form on the night. Then Arsenal winning Crystal Palace. That would be 3-2.
Yes.
Jesus hat-trick.
Yeah.
Seemingly rejuvenated at the weekend.
Seemingly pregnant with many more goals, as you can see.
Nketiah scoring a goal against Arsenal and celebrating as if he had a beef with the club. That's one of the focal points.
Did he really celebrate as he had beef?
Oh, he did.
It was just set time. No time.
Before the timing, he ran. He did quite a fist pumps in the air.
Yeah.
Then told them to watch their time. It was quite amazing to see that.
It could be interpreted different ways, but at the end of the day, when you check those games, like the Tottenham game against Man U, winning there, the standout from that game has to be that corner kick goal from Son. Mm-hmm. That was a beauty.
I do remember the Amsterdam butcher hurrying
him to score
to go to the corner flag for him to cross it straight into the post. And Son with the cheeky laughter afterwards.
Yeah,
you were smiling. A lot of gestures there, telling me you were rushing me up and I had to score.
Fantastic game
right there. The 7-goal thriller. It was quite amazing to see. Let's go straight into the Conference League, Europa Conference League, and only one team sits on question there, Chelsea. Nobody is following them up. Nobody is contesting for that top spot. They have qualified for best 8, automatic qualifications for the round of 16, and only 2 teams remain undefeated. And I'm talking about Chelsea and Victoria CS,
which is very strange.
Extremely strange.
A league table that's in the UEFA Conference League where you have some powerhouses, relatively strong powerhouses
like Fiorentina, Real Betis.
Even though they are third, yes, Real Betis is there. You can't accuse the likes of Shamrock Rovers and even Obodo Nicosia.
I do want to say this. You have to respect your elders no matter the game. Shamrock Rovers went down, then rushed to equalize. Chelsea just had to humble the boys on the night. You don't touch a tiger by its tail. You don't ruffle the feathers of an angry bird.
Yeah. But really, in all honesty, I think it was to be expected. If anything other than that happened, we would have been surprised. If anything other than Chelsea producing a dominant performance, Magui scoring a hat-trick there.
I was about to get to that. Yeah. Magui with his first hat-trick for Chelsea. In the first half, to say, it was quite interesting. The first goal was exciting, even though he ended up hitting his head on the crossbar. On the post. And this is what we've been seeing from Chelsea. Quite a few players stepping up, getting their hat-tricks. He's not the first. Madueke got his hat-trick. Palmer, Nkunku, now Gui. Who's to say maybe Sancho wouldn't get the next?
Depends on their position.
Depending on their position, who knows who's the next Chelsea player to get the hat-trick. But I mean, it's been quite exciting to watch Chelsea, not just in the Premier League, but in the Conference League. So dominating in the Conference League. Nobody seems to be catching them at this moment. Maresca. Every Chelsea player thanking God for bringing Maresca their way.
I choose not to, like we say in this part of the world, pour Sansan in their Gary. But really, first of all, come on, it's the Conference League. And Chelsea are a shark in a creek in the Conference League.
I do mean.
But, I mean, you beat what's in front of you. So I'm just trying to balance what I'm saying there. So it won't be as if I'm mocking Chelsea fans. But you beat what's in front of you, because we've seen many times heavyweights have floundered and flattered to deceive against weaker opposition. So Chelsea know what's at stake. Chelsea have an opportunity to do this.
The mindset is clear.
It's very, very clear. Every competition they find themselves in is the real deal. As it stands right now, Chelsea are in a position, I know it's too early to say this, but they're in a position to win a treble. Not the treble, but a treble. Why do I say so?
Cup,
because the FA Cup is still to come. No, they're out of the Carabao Cup,
Premier League,
and then
the
of course,
Conference League.
We know about that. So they have a big opportunity to do so. And it's all thanks to, first of all, Enzo Maresca and the board having faith in his appointment, in him. And then also the players who have
putting their trust
precisely, because a motivated player will always bring his, A game, because he knows that the team believes in him, that the coach and the technical staff believe in his ability. So we'll watch and see how it goes for Chelsea.
There is something we did skip earlier on, and that's the Everton's new ownership. We've seen quite in a few years ownerships pay off for some, pay off not well, taking time for some to pay off. I'm talking about Chelsea's ownership. It didn't pay off immediately, but signs are starting to look greener right now for Chelsea. And who's to say maybe the new ownership won't kick up flying for Everton? Probably they could have a poor start, or they could replicate what Newcastle United's ownership did, hitting it straight on, taking the team. We don't see them entering the Champions League this season.
No.
But I mean, with frequent seasons, we could be seeing them maybe climbing up the ladder, getting into a Europa League spot with good signings, probably, if the owners do splash the cash.
Yeah, it is possible, just for clarity, it's the freaking group that have completed the takeover from Farad Moshiri, and was, I think, how much? I think about 94% stake. I'll verify if it's been upped from there. And they're moving, we talked about the Merseyside derby that was cancelled, was postponed because of, Storm Duran that happened there. And as a result, what would have been the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park has not taken place. It's going to take place next year, maybe as early as possible next year. So everybody's getting ready in Everton to move. They will move from Goodison Park to the, what's the name of that park again? There's another park. There's the name that just escapes my mind. But Fahad Moshiri has lost his stake to the freaking group, an American group, which now brings it to 10 different franchises, 10 different American franchises in the English Premier League. So 10 different American groups. You talk about the likes of Arsenal. Stan Kroenke owns, basically is a majority shareholder of Arsenal Football Club. You look about John Henry and the rest in Liverpool. You talk about the Glazers in Manchester United, to mention but a few. So Americans are very astute businessmen.
Chelsea.
Yeah, sorry, come again.
The Clear Lakes in Chelsea.
Yeah, the Clear Lake consultancy firm with Toboy and the rest of them in Chelsea. And then other teams, they see how lucrative the English Premier League is. And Everton, I won't say my fear, because it's really not a fear or concern for me. I want to see competition. I love competition. I love the competitive nature of the league. And you could see two Americans now locking horns and say, okay, fine, in Merseyside. So we're going to see more exciting on one side, not one-sided, two-sided, balanced Merseyside derbies moving forward from next time. So it's a good piece of news, but sometimes some other clubs might get left behind, and the so-called poor clubs that do not have that have very tight purse strings might really struggle to keep up with the pace.
Lastly, on our lineup, the big fights. Everybody has been having their eyes.
That fight.
Tyson versus Usyk.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big fight, and many will have been putting their money on Tyson, many will have been putting their money on Usyk, but checking the run of form, most neutrals would have said Usyk would go into this fight stronger because he is undefeated. And he's the only person who has beaten Tyson
in his professional career.
So it's quite a big one to come here.
Yeah, massive one. It's going to take place by 9 p.m. tonight at Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And that's the 36-year-old Tyson Fury has a bone to pick against Usyk. Usyk is 37. Just like you rightly pointed out, Usyk has beaten Fury. He's the only man to beat him in his professional career. And Usyk has the perfect record in his boxing career, about 24, 25 boxing bouts with about 14 knockouts, no defeats, no draw. And it's really good. The Ukrainian knows what's involved. But, like if, we're looking at the
images on
the screen where they had an 11 minutes, 20 seconds stare off. An 11 minutes, 20 seconds face off. You look at these guys, you just wonder, maybe this guy, especially Usyk, this guy could have a staring competition with the sun and the sun will blink. So that's how bad it was. They were just looking at each other and then engaging themselves. But it's enjoyable. We know that Usyk should never be underestimated. I know that Fury understands that.
Never count out Tyson as well.
Never count out Tyson because Tyson is very vindictive. He wants to get that pound of flesh from Usyk. So Usyk had better bring his A game even more than he did before in the previous game.
Well, it's been a pleasure having these conversations with you about sports generally, from football down to wrestling. I mean, it's wonderful to get all these insights in the world of sports. Thank you, CC Bye-bye.
It's always a pleasure.
Well, I do remain your priest of football, Emeka Madokwe, aka Femelo. Join us every Saturday for more insightful thoughts on sports, not just football, not just wrestling, but all sports. Stay blessed. Goodbye.